Okay, did a little hike up the back of Chapman's Peak, got Hart Bay behind me with the Sentinel, and came looking for new landscape compositions. So today I'm going to talk you through some landscape compositional tips that might help you improve your landscape photography. The first thing you need to consider when coming out to shoot is look at the weather apps. What made me come out today were these nice high-level clouds in the sky. I knew that there was a good chance that we might get some color, and so this is what drove me to come out to do photography this evening. So first point, look at the weather, look for some good clouds, and if there are some good clouds, head out to shoot landscapes. Okay, the second thing I want you guys to think about is not only looking at the sky. There's no point just having like the Sentinel Peak or the mountains in the background with the beautiful pink or red sky, but it's also important to have a strong foreground element. This creates something called layers or depth to our image. So while looking around, I found these beautiful driftwood or dead tree branches that I'm going to use in my foreground, combined with the bushes with the little flowers and the rocks, makes a very striking and strong foreground. So this will marry quite nicely with some color in the sky. So I'm basically building up layers to get a nice depth in my image. Okay, the next point I want to make is what focal length to use. So when you're incorporating layers into your image to get that depth, it's generally a good practice to go wide. So I'm shooting at 14 mils, going as wide as I can to incorporate these layers of rocks, branches, the sea in the background, the mountains, and then the sky. So getting a lot of depth, getting a lot of that three-dimensionality using a wide focal length. Next thing to consider when shooting a landscape is that a traditional landscape doesn't necessarily have to be in landscape orientation. Sometimes the scene doesn't work for landscape. So for example, in this scene, if I was shooting in landscape, you would see that it would be very unbalanced. That all these mountains on the left-hand side and it's quite open on the right-hand side. So my image will be quite unbalanced when shooting in that orientation. So I went for a portrait orientation, and this just balanced my image much better from front to back, and I used the leading line with the curvature of the bay. Okay, you also want to consider the edges of your frame. So once you've taken your composition, take a test shot, and then just review the image in camera. Look around all the edges of the frame and make sure, especially when you have a lot of branches and rocks, make sure there aren't any branches that are maybe sticking out that you wanted to include, or you might have things in your image that you want to exclude. So just have a look at the edges of your frame. You might have to zoom in a little bit to get rid of some of the distracting elements, but consider those elements at the corners of your frame. Next thing to consider when you have a lot of cloud in the sky and you're shooting wide angle, especially when there's sea or water in your frame, is the use of a polarizer. Polarizer will cut down on the glare in the water and will pop the clouds in the sky. Okay, another thing to consider when shooting wide angle for landscapes is the pitch of your angle. If you pitch down towards your foreground, it makes it look a lot bigger. So you can really emphasize elements in your foreground, such as the branches and the rocks that I have in this foreground, and make them look a little bit bigger with a wide angle lens and pitching your angle down between 25 and 35 degrees.